Hello, everyone out there in internet land, and good evening. Welcome to Jets of Time. I am lordbatsy, and I will be on comms tonight, and we're going to be watching a boss randomizer race between Rythyrix and akuheish, and we'll be getting started in just a minute here. If anyone is new to Jets of Time, you can check us out at ctjot.com if you'd like to give it a try. We are a Chrono Trigger randomizer open world with the goal of seeds that can be completed in about 2.5 hours or less. All right, and here we go. Looks like we are starting with Frog and Megas, the combo we affectionately call the Buddy Cop team. And our runners are off. Rythyrix starting at the market at Pori, probably gonna hit that power tab before doing some shopping. Heals, ethers, and mid tonics. That is great. Aku doing some menuing and a save and going straight to that Denadoro fight. Both runners going straight to that Denadoro Mountains fight. And Rythyrix right behind in doing some of that menuing. Runners are turning down the battle speed probably to as fast as they can stand. That will give runners faster fills on their ATB bars, but it will also give the enemies faster fills. So to play that means that you don't have as much difficulty in menus either. And that's why it's an interesting balance, choosing the right speed. This fight is going to get several levels for both characters, as well as learn them two tactics. And the biggest thing that I think both the runners are going to be hoping for is something that will wipe the screen. So in Frog's case, the water 2 would be nice. Alright, Aku is done. Rock, water, and frog splash. And next, unfortunately, Megas requires multiple characters to learn his opening text, so he will not have them yet. So as of now, there isn't anything that will wipe the screen. Like Aku's going to pop into Sunken Desert and loot some of the chests. Rythyrix right behind him. This is a popular play to make early in the game. You can get extra equipment that you wouldn't normally have access to. These chests are definitely much higher quality than most of the other ones you can find at this point in the game. And worst case scenario, if you don't find anything that your current team can use, you'll find something you can sell for money. Aku is also picking up that power tab in 3. Buying ethers and mid tonics. No heals though. I personally recommend a small stack of heals, just in case. You never know what the enemies are going to throw at you. The lucky thing is with Magus in the starting party, he's got an amulet, so status effects won't hurt him. Yeah. Looks like Snail Stop is the hero medal, so Aku went ahead and picked that up. He's still got enough money, and Frog is in the party, so he can even equip it. Rythyrix is checking some other shops before heading into Cathedral. The first shop in Dorino, since it had ethers and heals and mid-tonics, typically the other two things players will want at the beginning are revives and shelters. And in just the time, those are always sold by Melchior at the Millennial Fair, so if you don't find them anywhere else, you can always get them. A frog splash in the Cathedral, but it won't be enough to hurt the Nagaets. Frog splash is very difficult to utilize at low levels, but what it will do is do about half damage to them, so they can at least be finished off with physical attacks. That might be one of the better ways to do this fight. Magus at this level, they did 62 there, and they have 60 HP, so it's a very, it's like flipping a coin, whether he'll come back or not. Aku, meanwhile, continuing his early game rounds, got the speed tab and picked up Thomas Pop, so write that on the grave, because you may as well, and then Aku's gonna pick up some more tabs, as we find out that Rythyrix is picking up Marl as a third character. Aku eating the cake at the imp's house. That is a great chance to recover your character's MP, actually, before you go do anything important. As Rythyrix, we see akuheish heading into First Woods. Check Frog's burrow. He's going to be able to use the burrow medal to open up that key item chest and peek the character inside the burrow, which sadly is Luca, and I say sadly because the burrow character tends to be the most difficult character to get out of there, and Luca's never the one you want to see stuck in the burrow. But on the other hand, the gate key is in that chest, and I think Aku is not going to regret doing those early game tests knowing where that will be fighting the hunters for the Naga at Bromide, with it in something time, or one of them. And then we'll see if it's time to finish the cathedral by going to the back of the cathedral and fighting the boss, who is the fourth character in Guardian Castle. But there are no key items, so unless the character back there can lock the player out of certain of the necessary, it's gonna go for it. Mermaid tabs and dark nails. Alright, treasure so far. Aku heading through the end of time and back to Medina to pick up. The end of time, Specchio can be used to unlock access for 4 of the 7 characters, that being Chrono, Luca, Marl, and Frog, without which they won't learn more than 3 specs. I'm sure Aku is going to do that pretty soon, but I will not be at all surprised to see a couple more characters. Interestingly enough, Aku is heading to the Dactyl Nest before front of the cathedral. Nest can be a bit of a dangerous one too. As you can see, the one-shotted frog there, and having the third character can be a nice the sometimes. At mentioning possibly a lot of early gate PCs. We did have one in a pickle race the other day, and I race, which is probably the other one we did a single life. This is only I can Rythyrix at the save point here. Look at that for frog. Also going for the first of the two pixel perfect decrement tips. Doesn't get that one. If you're on exactly the correct column of pixels, you can go behind the rock onto the ladder. Awesome. The cathedral is Rythyrix. The Boston Cathedral are typically scaled down quite a bit, so even the scarier ones So while it would be helpful if the piano where the continuous countdown and the fire damage, hopefully Rythyrix will be able to fail on this damage pretty well. Look at the character on Aki's butt, like Robo at the top of Jackal Nest. Super happy to be there. Be paying a visit to Frog Specchio to learn magic for Frog Blend. And Rythyrix has defeated Rythyrix. Rythyrix dropped a Pearl Edge, which is a fairly nice weapon for Frog. And I will assume that Rythyrix after Cathedral will probably do some of the early game checks that Aku did before Cathedral. So Rythyrix will probably wind up having that hero medal soon as well. And Akuheish has a full party now. We'll see if he goes ahead to check Cathedral and get another character or two. Or maybe he'll go straight to a different check. Maybe he's pretty satisfied with this party. The character in the castle is Chrono. And Chrono has been swapped in favor of Marl. I'm not unsurprised that Chrono has gone in. The Frog, Magus, and Marl combination is not necessarily the best combination for character synergy. Aku checking Xenon Bridge. The chef is gonna find him here and tell him what the key item is. It's the ruby knife, so we'll see if Aku decides to keep that or reset out. He's already got the gate key, and the ruby knife and gate key are part of the same go mode, so that can be worth continuing on for. Okay, and Rythyrix is right behind him at Xenon. And Rythyrix, who has not seen the gate key yet, resets out of Xenon Bridge. Different players absolutely have different routines for the very beginning of the game, and it's interesting to see where paths diverge, even with little things because of maybe not having the same knowledge that the other player has. I think Aku made a good move here, checking all of those little points that he could before he did anything particularly significant. Interestingly, skipping Cathedral altogether, but he did check for the tabs, and he did check the 2 easy 1000 AD key items, and it'll be interesting to see how that affects the course of the run. The question in chat, what were Marl's texts? I don't know if anyone has peeked them yet. If anyone saw, let me know, but I don't believe anyone looked at them. Aku's made it through the Aussie fights and is going to fight Masamune in place of Zombor. This truly is what peak masculinity looks like. Rythyrix is turning in the bromide. The old man says, "Don't tell Granny I'm looking at pictures of monster girls in bikinis." And now that Rythyrix has the gate key, he is also taking advantage of that portal to prehistory and presumably end of time after that. Rythyrix, interestingly, has Chronomarl and Frog, 3 characters who can take advantage of Specchio instead of just the one. Masamune fight on the bridge went perfectly swimmingly for akuheish. Specchio, of course, appears as different types of creatures depending on the party's level, their level of strength. So since Aku went there super early, Aku saw Frog Specchio, Rythyrix is seeing the next form. And hopefully, now that Rythyrix is learning magic, we're gonna get a good look at these tech lists. Especially since if you take characters to Specchio to learn magic, if they don't already know their first 3 techs, they'll get them automatically. It's very nice. Alright. Akuheish grabbing the chest behind where the boss spawns and then engaging the boss, and Yakra's hiding out in the sunken desert. And looks like into Reptile Lair for Rythyrix. And Rythyrix is looking for a secret tunnel, so to speak, which is when one of those evil weevils digs through the floor and leaves an alternate path. The one that he got there was in the wrong sector and would have still led to the default path, where the treasure is, well, I think either non-existent or not nearly as cool as the stuff on the other paths. Aku's still pounding away at Yakra over there. It's, unfortunate that Aku doesn't have a better weapon for Frog, because that hero medal really helps out with Frog's, power, but since Aku hasn't gone through Cathedral, he didn't get that Pearl Edge. I don't know if there have been any other, weapons or decent weapons for Frog out there. Lucky Break is Yakra standing so close to Megas. Yakra will counterattack when he's nearby to characters, or he'll counterattack. I apologize. I mixed things up. Yakra counterattacks when he's far away from characters, but if he's nearby, he won't. So you can take advantage of that to not get hit as hard. Right, and Rythyrix was perhaps only going in there for the grind, and then is going to come explore Dactyl Nest, where we know he will find Robo at the top. Moon Blizzard comments in chat that it's interesting they've decided not to go to Hecarim Caves so far, and I agree with that assessment, actually. With an early gate key, Hecarim Cave provides quite a bit of tech points from the battles that you fight there, and it's really great after you unlock magic for filling out your character's tech list. Another question, what do we have for AoEs? So far, pretty much Jack, unless I missed something. I think, both players are still waiting to get stuff off of Magus. Bond vest for Luca, who is tragically in the burrow. Okay, Chrono's getting Luminaire for his 4th tech. So it looks like that will be the first screen wipe that really comes up. Rythyrix picks up Robo. Will he use Robo? Not so far at least, but we'll see. And akuheish is still chipping away at that Yakra fight. Oh, and there it goes. That was quite a long fight. It was an interesting choice. That boss fight was quite safe, but it did take a long time. And so we'll see what that does for Aku's run after this. And Magus has learned Ice 2, Dark Bomb, and Black Hole. Returning Black Hole to Jets of Time is actually a new beta feature. It's been changed so that it deals damage instead of sucking things up, and the range is a little bit better. It doesn't cover the entire screen, but it is pretty good. Like, Rythyrix is grinding a little bit in Reptile Lair. I'm gonna pick up the key item, the pendant. Well, since it's the pendant, which opens up the future, and the future itself opens up 3 key item checks and a character, I would say that that check has paid off for Aku. The fight did take a long time, but I suspect he's fairly happy with where he's at now. Rythyrix has gone straight for the tunnel. No secret tunnels, no special digs, just heading through. Whereas Aku has sent Magus to prison for his crimes 400 years too late. Now that Rythyrix's Magus has Ice 2, we'll see how it does against this Megasaur. 275. Magus's elemental full screen techs, i.e. Fire 2, Ice 2, Lightning 2, not his Shadow Element ones, are cast at half strength compared to Chrono, Luca, and Marl casting their own spells. That's the downside. The upside is he also casts them at half the MP cost. But sometimes that lack of strength is inconvenient. Aku coming through the prison, about to dodge guards. Now, while I would be in favor of him saving Fritz, it'll be interesting to see if he does, because I don't believe Aku knows where Chrono is. And you need Chrono in your party to pick up those free mid-ethers. Oh, he's going for it. At least going for the guard. Pleasant surprise. Guards did nothing wrong. And the guards are dropping mid-ethers as well, so that might have been why. I was wondering. The guards in Guardia Prison often drop useful consumables. So even if you can't sneak by them, fighting them can be useful, and sneaking by them may even be to your detriment if you really need some items. Boss is slowly crawling out of the lair in Reptite lair here. Since it's the little orb, I think that's Retinite. Yep. Luckily with Ice 2 and Chrono with Confused, hopefully Retinite won't last too long. Chrono doesn't have a very good sword, though. Chrono's sword has been upgraded, I think, over there to a Heal Saber, which is only his second or third weapon as compared to the Wood Sword. And Rythyrix has killed Retinite's core, possibly not on purpose, probably not on purpose, giving the reset. Unfortunately, Retinite will go berserk if you kill the core. And unless the other parts are near death, it can actually be pretty difficult to take it down after that point. And meanwhile, we've got Akuheish over here engaging Dragon Tank, one of the few bosses in the new boss rando that isn't randomized. I think it just has to do with technical limitations. This screen is on a different projection than most of the game, and I think a lot of the animations are different. Blade toss for okay damage, more than it heals for anyway. Now Rythyrix unloads Confuse after Confuse on Retinite's top half. Alright, Aku is through Dragon Tank, those Spark Bombs doing their job. And notice the Slasher dropped, which is a perfectly alright weapon for Chrono. I don't know if that'll be enough for Aku to bring Chrono in. This is an interesting set of characters that we've seen. With Luca not available and Ayla so far not available, though I believe she's in Protodome, so Aku might be about to pick her up. Two of the most desirable characters, generally speaking, in terms of players' personal preferences, aren't here. A good question for chat is, given the characters Chrono, Marl, Robo, Frog, and Magus, who would you put in your party of 3? I would probably use Chrono, Frog, and Robo, and might throw Marl in for Ice Swords or Ice Pistols. Yep, there was a crisis arm behind the sealed door, as chat points out. I'm assuming we have the flag on that's nerfed the Robo-Tackle crisis arm power-up. I am unsure what number Robo would need to have on his hit points, the last digit of his hit points for the crisis arm to start paying off in damage without the previous change to Robo Tackle. Part of the reason it had been such a killer strategy before is that Robo pretty much needed a 2 for Crisis Arm to be equivalent for his normal damage, and that's why it's getting adjusted. Okay. Akuheish has headed into Sun Palace, which locks a key item behind, in this case, a randomized boss, which is a lava spawn. Rythyrix heading into Desert as well. Since he's heading in with Ice 2 on a character, he can go ahead and take those fights, which can be fairly dangerous at lower levels unless you can one-shot them with their weakness, which is water. Got some unfortunate tidings on Aku's side over there with Robo down and Frog in Chaos, although luckily not anymore. Lava Spawn getting lots of attacks off. I know that Aku likes to play on Battle Speed 1, and I don't know if that is part of it. Playing on a higher battle speed, I discussed this a little bit earlier, but it's certainly nice because it means your ATB bars fill up faster. You know, you'll get through things much quicker in general, but it also means effectively you have fewer frames to click into your character's menus, assuming that you're on wait mode, which would stop the timer on the enemies attacking you. And Aku has turned around and gone for Aristom instead. People looking at Akuheish's screen right now might notice the changed descriptions on some of the equipment, which is another beta feature. The descriptions have been changed both for brevity and for clarity, so that you can tell at a glance exactly what stats that piece of equipment is affecting. And it also goes into the experimental equipment randomizer flag, which we're not playing with today, but it helps make that possible. So thank you to the dev team once again. Aku's gonna have a boss drop down right here, and it's Flea. Never anyone's favorite to see, Flea. So Flea is fond of status effects and incredibly nasty counterattacks at half health or below. The lucky thing about Flea, I say lucky, is that it's possible he won't do his counterattacks, but you'd never know until it happens. We're seeing the new black hole over on Rythyrix's side for the Yakra fight, and that damage, 857, I think we're gonna see a much faster Yakra fight than we did before. We're checking damage from Dark Bomb as well, kind of 500. Uh, Black Hole might be a bit better, depending on the MP. We haven't had Black Hole for so long, I don't remember how much it costs, though possibly just the same as Anti-Life did, which is what we had in there before. And there goes Yakra. Never underestimate the power of good tech in Chrono Trigger. And meanwhile, on Aku's side, the flea fight is not looking so great. Well, it's possible, Robo can take some hits and, you know, maybe revive a team member. And, if you leave a team member down, Flea won't be able to do his nastiest counterattack. This, still doesn't look great. As Rythyrix heads into the shrine, we know he's gonna pick up that pendant, and I suppose he'll be off to the future pretty quickly as well. And chat can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen either of these players commit any of their tabs yet. And if they haven't committed tabs, that could tell us that neither of them is 100% happy with this party. Or rather, the party that each of them is using, because they they differ. Ah, Rythyrix heading into Hecarim Cave. Alright, and even though Frog and Magus are down, so is Flea. You can get through a lot in this game with a little bit of tenacity. But we'll see how these long boss fights affect Aku in the end. I suspect Aku's gonna definitely want to get some more damage out of his characters pretty soon. We do know that Magus should be getting Black Hole soon. And Aku got the quick catch on the rat, which is a very impressive trick. The only unfortunate thing is because you get trapped behind the rat, it makes the sequence a little bit slower. Runners are probably first and foremost hoping that one of these checks is going to get them the Dreamstone. While Rythyrix hasn't completed Xenon Bridge, we know he peaked it, so he does know where the Ruby Knife is, and the Dreamstone would complete the Lavos via Tyranno layer requirements for the Go mode. And Rythyrix has some pieces of other Go modes as well, with the Pendant and the Chrono Trigger, looks like. So the clone would also put him in Go mode. Strangely enough, we haven't seen either piece of the sword yet. Right, Aku is running back out of Arisdome. We're gonna see the item from there pretty soon. Rythyrix has cleared the last regular encounter in Hecarim Cave. And, welcome in Kyuketsuki, who's going to join me on comms. Looks like the boss for Hecarim Cave is Atropos. Most bosses are not particularly dangerous in Hecarim Cave, and she is not particularly dangerous most of the time, so I suspect this isn't gonna be much of a thing. But, meanwhile, it looks like Aku went through Arisdome and found that Dreamstone. So he's got go mode. Gonna check some of these sealed chests. Hey, a Wonder Shot. And a Blackmail. Aku goes down very quickly.
But yeah, it's like we finally got down Hecarim's cave after 45 minutes. It's definitely something that we don't typically see in these seeds.
Yeah, that's an interesting call, especially with such an early gate key. Some people are a little reluctant to go in there because they don't want to waste the checkpoints if they're gonna cap out their techs, but everyone got to go to Specchio early, so that wasn't a problem.
But yeah, that is a great point. We see Rythyrix already grabbing some key items from Melchior there. Was it Meridian?
Yes. I don't know that he had grabbed those particular ones earlier, so it's good that he got them now.
But Aku going in there about like level, I think he was like level 17, level 18 at this point. This is still kind of low at this point.
Yeah, he is a bit low, so it'll be interesting to see how Tyranno goes. The dungeon itself isn't so bad, but the boss can be pretty crunchy, sometimes literally.
I mean, there's always the worry that I go into this place. It's like, yeah, you got the fastest go mode. But the thing is, you don't know what element you're going to go into it. And you can get non-elemental. And non-elemental is not fun.
It is not. Non-elemental cannot be blocked. And Rythyrix has chosen to go up Denadoro next, looks like. Despite picking up the pendant, he hasn't gone for the future at all.
That is a difficult point to make, especially when you're 48 minutes in. You're expecting everyone else to be in go mode near at this point or close to be. And
Certainly.
at that point, you're like, okay, I have to make places that won't make sense. If you think somebody got an early pendant, you're like, yeah, they already did that. I have to try and make a play that they probably haven't made. You're 48 minutes in, you may have thinking they're going to do Son of Sun. They may have done an Aerostome, and they may have actually done something silly like doing Genodome.
It is true. You never know.
But a Zodiac Cape there, unfortunately, not that useful today for Aku's team, which is a team that I absolutely love.
Yep, the
Especially,
Zodiac cape can only be worn by women. Aku is hitting the left button. Waiting just a second to switch across there.
I loved Ritter skip there. If you hadn't seen that one, that is one of the hardest skips in Denadoro. It's the Bellbird skip, and he nailed that one instinctively. Once you learn one of the Bellbird skips, just run with it.
It's a very strange skip in terms of I guess just the area that you have to avoid. It's oddly shaped compared to others. So it is very impressive when people do it smoothly. And yes, as mentioned, Aki picked up some sunshades. I'm sure he's happy about. Aku misses that skip, but that skip is quite hard. You need to hit a button as you're going into the doorway, and that prevents the encounter from loading until after you've hit the barrier to go into the next room.
Okay, this is a skip that I struggle with oftenly. Do you act? Is there any tips that you want to give other than Moo Blizzard being in our chat right now?
Could you say that one more time? You're actually really quiet in my ears.
I'm sorry. I am. This is a skip that I've never actually hit. Is the 2 reptite 1 volcano skip.
Mm,
This is
yeah,
one that I still struggle with. It feels similar, like the one time I've actually gotten it, it feels similar to the Dactyl Nest skip. But you said that you actually have to hit a button to do it.
you do. Yeah, that's the thing. You do want to glance off the right pixel, but you also have to hit a button, and that helps like delay the game loading the fight such that you have time to hit the next zone, I think is how it works. Um, Whereas the Dactyl Nest ones, while you have to be standing on the right pixel, it's still just standing. You don't have to press buttons. Rythyrix starting on his fight against the twins. This is another boss fight that is never randomized, but whatever they come together to form will be.
We also have Aku on the Golem fight, which is a simple fight if you have Ice 2 on Magus, because you can just alternate off the attacks here. And we get Guardian.
Alrighty. The Guardian sprite, many of its tiles being part of the room it's in, is very difficult to move around, so we use a new.
And for those of you wondering, how did I know it's Guardian? There's only 2 bits at spawn. If there's 3, that's Mother Brain.
Indeed. And Guardian is done.
Very simple fight. You just have to not use anything that's fire or lightning against Guardian, if I remember right. Are the 2 elements that do not work against Guardian, similar to the Dragon Tank.
Yes, at least fire. I don't remember about lightning. They will take out the bits, though, much like Dragon Tank.
Yep. You can still use Flare to get rid of the bits. The important point is you do not want to leave a bit standing when you're using an AoE attack.
No, you do not. And there's the bent sword. An uncommonly long time to go in a seed without seeing a piece of the sword and, being disappointed.
Now the question is, at this point, you did not make that pendant check. You found that early. I think Rythyrix is going to make the play that I think you'd make. Exactly, he's going to go for Toma's Mob.
I'm gonna go for Claw. Interesting.
That's exactly what I'd make at this point. It's like you're about 50 minutes in. This is a boss randomizer seed. Maybe there's something nasty. I can catch up time here.
Maybe. It's interesting, given that the pendant opens up so much. I think it's an interesting call that he hasn't particularly followed that trail of breadcrumbs.
This is something you typically make in a race at this point, as somebody who actually races, who's raced SVJ at this point. I'm looking to always beat somebody who's superior at running my game. And Rythyrix has actually used these techniques against me personally as well. So,
Okay,
if
then.
you think you're behind, you don't have a go mode by about 45 minutes. Try and make ridiculous plays. Make your gambles. And that's the reason why both that we have. I am 0-2 in our co-op races these days. Okay, so Aku missed warrior time here, which is unfortunate. It's a difficult skip to actually hit. You're looking to hit both the bottom section on the first and then
the
go back up.
and then the bottom.
You actually don't actually need to hit the bottom on the second time. If you just hold the top, you can actually skip the rest of it.
That is not true.
As long as you go deep enough in on the right hand side, yes. That is actually
Well, then, okay, maybe you know better than I do.
Yeah, if you clip off of the bottom section and just go directly diagonally to the right, for the most part, as long as you do not hit the diagonal section, you can actually clip and just hold top the rest of the time. He's going for double dragon skip, which is... God, I need to watch that back. Holy crud, he got double dragon. That is... I'm going to say is frame perfect, because I believe it is the same as like Dactyl Nest, where you actually have to hit the right frame on that one. Well, you know what I mean, like you have to actually have the right left frame to actually get it into there. So you have to bounce off that wall and then get in. But again, watch Moon Blizzard videos. Ah, yes, some Rumble Strats from Rythyrix.
And a Zala down on Aku's side. And Black Tirana has dropped its defense, and while Rythyrix runs into Flea and Giant's Claw, Aku needs to pile as much damage as he can on this dinosaur. If that attack goes off, it is not going to be a good time. Although everyone has barriers on, so with a heal, there's a decent chance he'll survive it. All right. No issues from Flea. But sadly, Giant's Claw held the jerky. And even if it's a really good item, I'm sure Rythyrix is feeling.